J&V Restaurant Supply Team with Captain Darian White. Cola Bad Bear with rebounds.
Miami.
Madison Jackson assists. And your shooter from downtown, Leah Beatty. J&V Restaurant Supply. Savor the difference.
Back like we never left. More players to watch. Colter Nuanez, SkylineSportsMT.com. Thanks for following along. Thanks for watching in. Thanks for making us your go-to spot for coverage of the Big Sky Conference at large, particularly with a high emphasis on Montana State. Montana State, 5-1 after their victory over Idaho State this last week. They're 3-0 in Big Sky Conference play. Take the show on the road to Greeley, Colorado to take on Northern Colorado. The Bears, 2-4 overall, and struggling again in Ed Mccaffrey's first season at the helm. The Bears are 1-2 in Big Sky Conference play. Their lone victory, a 35-14 victory over Idaho State. Then losses 55-35 to Idaho and 55-7 last week to Sac State. Player number one to watch for the Northern Colorado Bears, Dylan Mccaffrey, back for his second year as a starter. Sort of the same old story as it was a year ago. He's going to complete a lot of passes at a relatively high percentage, but they don't throw the ball down the field hardly at all. I don't know if that's a product of the read or what. A lot of pro-style stuff, a lot of checkdowns to the running backs, and just not a lot of explosive plays, not a lot of stretch in the field. Dylan McCaffrey, a former five-star recruit who started his career at Michigan. This season he's completing 61% of his passes, just 135 yards per game. He's thrown 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's been splitting time a little bit with Jacob Sermon. Sermon is a transfer from multiple different places, a former Elite 11 guy who started his career at Washington, a guy from the Seattle area who then played at Central Michigan and now is there at UNC. Sermon has completed 57% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, throwing for 119 yards per game. So don't know what the plan is on Saturday, but they have played both. I think part of it was McCaffrey was a little banged up earlier this year, and part of it they just want to have multiple guys. But it's just interesting to think that Northern Colorado has 2 former 5-star recruits at quarterback, neither of whom have any sort of real inside track at being all-league of any sort. And yet, so then you have to wonder, is that the offense? Or is it a lack of protection, a lack of weapons? I'm not sure, but Northern Colorado, certainly a lot of improvements to be made to highlight those guys, or maybe those guys just haven't been able to really fulfill that potential that they once had coming out of high school. Another player to watch for Northern Colorado's offense, a familiar name in the Big Sky Conference, but new to UNC, Elijah Dodson. He was a first-team All-League selection as both a sophomore and a junior at Sacramento State. And then last year at Sac State, he basically pulled the plug on his own season 4 games into the year, decided to take a red shirt to preserve his final year of eligibility. And they landed at UNC. He's averaging 3.6 yards per carry. He is Northern Colorado's leading rusher, 353 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns so far. So he's one certainly to watch. And then on the outside, UNC spread the ball around quite a bit, but they don't have a single guy that has more than 5 catches that is averaging more than 14 yards per catch. Travis Graham right now is their leading guy in terms of yards per game. He's got 19 catches for 284 yards. He is averaging about 15 yards per catch. He is a graduate transfer who played at Texas State. So he's sort of the big play, quote-unquote guy. But like I said, Northern Colorado has not thrown the ball down the field much. The other guy that I thought stood out last year for Northern Colorado, who was another transfer from Washington State, a former 4-star recruit, was Cassidy Woods, and Woods has been involved a little bit so far in the offense, 14 catches, 150 yards, and he has played in all 6 games. But Sort of a receiver room by committee. Ty Arlington and Travis Graham both have 3 touchdowns each. Eliza Dodson has got 2 touchdowns as well. And then Woods is also in the mix there. Defensively.
No.
Yeah, me neither. You know, Bethany Cordell thinks a hot dog is a sandwich.
So wrong.
I know. You know, I scored 30 points in a game once.
Really?
No, I got cut my freshman year.
Hey, a touchdown.
Don't be mean.
There. Defensively, the story of Northern Colorado this last offseason was massive turnover. They had, I think, close to 40 guys enter the NCAA transfer portal, one of whom was Jace Bobo, who was their leading tackler and an all-league linebacker, one of their best defensive players. So pretty much everybody that's now leading the way for the UNC defense is new. Also, David Hogue, who's a preseason All-Big Sky selection, one of the best edge guys in the Big Sky Conference. He has not played in a game yet so far this year. I have heard, but can't confirm, that he's out for the year, but he's certainly been out for the year to this point. That's one thing we can confirm. That's definitive. So we'll see what the status is for him moving forward, but that's a big loss for UNC. The leading tackler for the Bears is Elijah Anderson Taylor. He is one of many new additions to the roster. He's a redshirt sophomore linebacker, and coming off of a red shirt. He actually made his first career start last year against Montana State, so he's been there for 2 years there at UNC. And he is far and away Northern Colorado's leading tackler, almost twice as many tackles as anybody else on the Bears, which actually makes him one of the leading tacklers in the Big Sky Conference. Jordan Knapke, also a player to watch. He wears number 2 there for Northern Colorado. He's got 43 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and he's also got a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. By the way, Elijah Anderson Taylor also has 3 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. So he's having a great year statistically. Jordan Knapke is a sophomore defensive back out of nearby Aurora, Colorado. So he's another one to watch. The leading sack guy so far, with Hogue out for UNC, they don't have a ton of sacks as a team, just 6 total sacks. But Kevon Lakes has been their number 1 sack guy. He has 1.5 sacks so far this year as an outside linebacker, and the guy that's been playing rotational snaps there at linebacker. Their leader in tackles for loss is Nick Norris. He's got 39 total tackles, and 3 of them have been behind the line of scrimmage, so he's probably your top defensive lineman to watch with Hogue on the bench. Norris is a 6'4", 262-pound sophomore from Fort Morgan, Colorado, and he wears number 92. So keep your eye on him as well. So UNC, they have been battling similar challenges forever. They struggled when they first came in the Big Sky Conference in 2006. Didn't win a game for several years. Then Ernest Collins actually had back-to-back winning seasons there, but 6-5 2 years in a row in the scope of a 10-year span where he only won, I believe, 28 total games out of exactly an even 100. It's been the same old story since UNC moved up from Division II to Division I. They've been good in basketball and women's basketball. They've had a really hard time competing on the football field. And now in year 2 under Ed McCaffrey, the offense has left a lot to be desired. The defense has given up big plays and has had a hard time stopping the run, giving up almost 220 yards per game, and that's not going to get any easier with Montana State coming to town. The Bobcats second in the FCS in rushing yards per game, almost 300. Been so impressed with MSU's offensive line and their ability to sort of weather the storm with starting quarterback Tommy Mellott on the shelf and All-American running back Isaiah Fonse and grad transfer running back Kagan Williams. Hasn't mattered. Jared White, the stud freshman from Texas, he's been out since his very first carry of his very first start, and it hasn't mattered. MSU has kept on running the ball, so that's a matchup to watch and one I think that's going to be decidedly in Montana State's favor again as they make their way down to Greeley. There you go. That's some Northern Colorado players to watch here on the Skyline Sports YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Big Sky Breakdown podcast, and we'll have plenty more coverage for you leading up to Montana State's trip to Greeley, Montana hosting the University of Idaho, and other stuff from around the Big Sky Conference. Skyline Sports, SkylineSportsMT.com. Every day, every season. We'll catch you next time.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.